Welcome back to Twisted Metal Customs. You're with me, Logs, and we're working on part 5 of XP Raptor Resto. So we're just going to continue on as requested on this series. Seems to be pretty liked. So we are today doing guards and the doors. So it's a lot of work in them. They were, you'll see here, that they were pretty well, you know, I should have got replacement guards. And funny enough, some come on the marketplace half an hour away for $200 that were straight as a die. And I could have saved myself about a week and a half worth of work on them. So anyway, you're learning, well, I'm learning. And again, this is the ute, there's no sun anymore, so you can't see it sparkle. But I did get some footage before, you'll see. But I'm thinking about doing the whole lot again. But you'll hear why at the end of the video. And there's also a couple of questions what you guys reckon on some ideas about this blue ute. So sit back, get some popcorn and a coffee, and enjoy. This is a guard that I've just finished hammer and dollying and welding up. I haven't even got the paint off yet, so it's just its base shape. I've just fitted it, and it fits not too bad on the panel, the left hand side. You know, I've just got homemade tools and bits and pieces that I've made. This is a good little piece I made up from a air hammer or air chisel. I've just welded on a flat bit of steel and shaped it, so it's good for knocking out a heap of little dints along the panels or anything with a bit of curve on it, rather than sitting there with the hammer. Just sort of streamlines things or speeds up a bit just to get it into rough shape. Then I go sand it all, and then I can go over with the epoxy, and then I can see where the highs and lows are. But this one here, as you can see, it's got quite a bit of a stone ding here, whether it was a boulder or a tree or a roo or what, but it's pretty well crimpled. The whole bottom end of the guard's all been folded back up. Yeah, so this is going to be a bit of a mission. I'm going to try my best to save it. Alrighty, so that is taking shape definitely. So I use different tools as you saw, and I'm running into the point now where there is a little bit of bog in the front end of this panel, just here. Must have been about 1/8 thick, a bog, so I'm going to have to wire brush that back. But what I did is I used 80 grit and used the paint itself as basically a guide coat for the bulk of it. You can see all that stuff there, all those high points, that's everything I've bashed out from that big dint. So if you go down on the plane, and actually it came up pretty good considering what it looked like and how many creases and stuff was in it. So you see, can't get any lower than that. But anyway, it's getting to the shape now where you almost high fill that with putty and block it back, or use even epoxy. But I haven't even started this bottom corner yet. But the bulk of it's back into shape. So that's basically what I do. I'm not a professional at hammer and dolling either, but that's all I've learnt. So if you do have any tips, put them down below. I'd be happy to give them a go. But I've got a fair bit of work here to do. That's where that brace is underneath, so hard to get to that. And this bottom section down here, that's the other panel done. Well, to the point where I can use wire wheel and take it all back to steel. And yeah, so I've test fitted it on the XP, and it fits pretty good. Paint come up pretty good. Considering it was 40 hours worth of prep, but beautiful colour, pretty bloody good. It's not bad for a gun finish. I'm happy with that. If anybody's done a 302 and an XP with a narrower engine bay, shout out, let me know what I've got to look out for on that. We have the two panels in epoxy, sanded all down. I ended up going just about all the way back to metal because there's a lot of bog in this one. You can see the whole panel's a bit crippled, so that was pretty much bogged there. I don't know what or how much I can get of that out with the hammer and dolly, probably not much. But I dare say I'll have to skim coat that again. But they're primed inside and out, which is good. I've got the Land Cruiser guard over there and over there for that, going at the same time. And that really bad dent in that driver's side door, been working on the doors as well. I've got the poor man's dent puller, which is just a hand-me-down. It's actually a proper, slide hammer, but I didn't have any fitting, so I just welded a bolt to the end, and then I've just got a heap of different nuts. I just weld on basically, just tack them on, 3 tacks either side, and that was that one that was, I don't know if I took a picture, but it was that bad that it was nearly touching the glass on the inside, so that was about 3 inches in. So I just kept slide hammering that out, and yeah, pretty well perfect now, so happy with that. I've got the other door here, it's pretty good dent wise, but just removing all the old rubbers and all the fixtures off it. Going to start sanding those tomorrow. Well, we've been hammering on these front guards for the XP now for about a week, amongst other jobs, and they're getting closer. This was that really bad crinkled one. It's still got a lot of rippling and stuff. I just put a really thick coat of high build primer on both of them, so this one here is not too bad. So it's coming up pretty good. I think once we block that one back, it'll be done. But this one here, it's got a lot of, how do I say,
discrepancies along that panel there. So I'll block it back. It may need another coat of high build or two, but considering where it was and what it looked like before I started, actually both of them, they come a long way. And I also top coated that one FJ45. I'm still doing some work on that one there. So there we have 2 coats of epoxy primer, sanded back to bare metal. I used 80 grit first and then went to 120 before epoxy. And got a fair bit of the dins out. and crinkles and whatnot, but you can see there's there's a dent there, little dent there. All this was where that big crinkle was, so I hammered most of it out, but it's still got a little bit to do, but I might have to put a bit of bog in there. I can't get to that dent because there's a brace right in the way. I haven't got any sort of dent puller except for this home jobby I made, but I've got to weld a bolt to it, a nut, sorry. I've got to weld a nut to it, so it's just a bit messy for all this sort of finicky stuff, so it's getting there. So I'll let that cure off and then start sanding and blocking back and getting all the low points. And because it's epoxy PR 250 wattle, I can bog straight over top of that, so that's why I love this stuff. It's great and it sticks to anything. So alrighty, so we finally have something I can talk about rather than time lapse. There's a fair bit I've done that I haven't time lapse because I'm sure you get sick of it after a while. So we've got this 3 screws here that hold the door latch in, and I believe you can see that they've cracked out just from vibration or whatnot, I guess, from the dirt roads. This has probably gone down a million miles, but I'm going to have to cut that out and re-weld in a new piece, and it's got a big curve in it, like countersunk, so I'm going to have to do a bit of hammering on that and maybe use some of my tools. So I thought I'd try to show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to grind down this shaft I found. I'm going to try to sculpt it the same profile as the other one, as in indentation, and I'm going to try to use this and beat the shit out of it on a bit of steel into a bit of timber and try to get that same profile. So catch you in 5. Alrighty, we're at the wood chopping block area, and I've got my 2 pieces of steel here. You can see that I just sharpened the end a bit to make the same profile as inside, and now I'm going to see if this is going to work. Might be too hard timber. I'm just going to beat that in there. Works, but I think the timber's too hard. I don't have any pine laying around here. It's pretty good. That'll work, I reckon. Okay, so we've got our 2 pieces here, and I'm just going to go around with the tin snips and try to cut them down a bit closer to where they need to be. Oops. Well, there we have it. This one here came up pretty good. Good enough to hold the screw. But it was very, very sharp, and you see me, I don't know if you saw me, but it kept like catching. Even if I was trying to spin away, like it was just really, really
It's really sharp. And what actually happened is on this side, it ripped into it too much and then ripped off that seal. It was probably a bit light in the weld. I put some more heat into it to get penetration, but it just cracked because I hooked on the inside lip, and you can see where it's come down the side here. So I've got to do this one again, re-weld that around with some more heat. That's better. Good enough. See? That one's quite deeper, but still countersunk, so that's cool. G'day, chappy. Hello. Yeah, so it's come up really good, but I just want to do a bit more extra, you know. It's so much time and effort into it, I might as well redo this paint and panel. Not that the paint's bad, it's just the panel's bad, in my opinion. Like, I can still see some pitting and stuff through, and then some dents along the side there that are coming through. And now I've got some bigger sanding blocks. I feel like I can get that a lot better now. And I got high build primer, so that's a good thing I didn't have before. I was only using epoxy, so that should get rid of all of that. So I'm going to spend another week on this and block back all of that paint, redo primer, surfacer, high build, and then once the doors and everything's back on, then I can do the whole paint again in the booth. I won't do inside the, like, you know, doors and stuff. I'll do a closed door respray again, which is basically, like, in here is fine. I'll just do a closed door respray, which is what I was going to do anyway. But yeah, you can see it actually, it is looking really nice. Got some crap running off here from rain, but look at that paint. It's a really nice colour. Single stage De Beer. No clear on top, that's just single stage. Straight off the gun too, that's like mirror finish. It's a pity because that's really quality finish on the gun. I'm happy with it anyway. Yeah, so I can put the paint code up. I'll put it in the comments or up here, whatever. 6H8 I think it is, or 8H8, not sure, but bloody hell, that looks good. Yeah, so that's why I'm going to put a bit more effort in it and do it properly, because it's going to be a really nice ute when it's done. So Raptor coat the tub. Might paint all the inside black again. It's all that factory white. But I think, imagine maybe a hard top that would be pretty cool on it. But yeah, a black, blue ute with, I'm thinking also ration stripes. You know, fat, maybe 10-inch ration stripes either side, straight down the back and then the back tailgate. So if you made it this far in the video, listen to me talk shit. Let me know in the comments if you think black racing stripes will look good against a blue ute. And we're probably going to have black rims, black tub, black interior, so black and blue. Yeah, that's how I feel after doing this restoration, black and blue. Today, we're going to be Raptor coating the tub of the XP Falcon. So you can see I'm on my journey of wire brushing the whole lot back to metal, or to a surface that's not rust covered or mud covered. It looks bad, but it's majority of it's just brown dirt and mud. It's all like, there's a lot of flaky rust in there, yes, I agree, but yeah, so I'm just going to hit it back once with this wire brush, get it all back, and then I'll clean it all, and I'll probably hit it over with the Orbi to sand the surface down, rust convert the whole lot. And when we're at that stage, we'll put some Raptor coat on, or the primer, the Raptor coat, and we'll show you what the before and after looks like. So we're good to go. You can see all grounded back with a wire wheel. Got some real dodgy tape work on the outside to stop the overspray. I'm going to do this, redo that blue anyway. I've got a few dings and stuff I want to get done properly. Can't really see. But yeah, there's some dents and stuff I want to redo. The front one, that was that really bad dented panel. I'm going to have another crack at that. So not too worried about overspray, but it'd just be a bit easier to sand if I didn't cake it on. So what I'm going to do now, it's good that it's in the shade, because that rust converter, which I tried already, just tipped a bit on the floor. Holy hell. Look at that. I just tipped it on and smeared it with my finger. That's like rock hard. It's 100% converted that rust to black, whatever it's called, the scientific name, but that is some good shit. I'll put the picture of the bottle and the brand here for you to look at. I think it must be a smaller company because I've never heard it before, but about 20 odd bucks a bottle, and that is just insane. Like, that's way better than the CRC, to be honest, but just less convenient. Like, you got to put it in a mist bottle and keep it wet for half an hour. But that's just poured on. That's really good. So we're going to, and it's paintable up to 2 weeks apparently. It's a paintable surface. So the plan is get this whole lot sprayed. I'm going to mix it into my spray gun. I'm going to wet it down first. It says to wet, and then spray it all on, and I'll use a brush to sort of rub it in a bit on the bad or worst sections, and then give it half an hour, and then apparently wash it off and all that sort of stuff. Just follow the instructions when you go to use it. Well, I just put on most of that bottle just through a little tiny spray gun, and just got a paintbrush and just sort of smushed it around a bit to make sure it penetrated quite nicely, and we'll see how black it turns and how much it kills. So far it's already dark. It's probably taken about 10 minutes to get to the end. You can see that in there's got a bit to do, but it's working all right, I think. So I'm going to just do the other panels, which clip onto here once they're done, and I'll have them on a trestles or something so I can Raptor coat the whole lot. Let's get it. So that works quite good, actually. That's just paint and stuff in there, not worry about it. But everything had the surface rust is now black. So that's pretty good. So now I've got to wash it all off apparently, whether I do that or not, maybe. But I'm going to put some Raptor coat on. There we have it. So I did the U-pole primer on top of that rust converter when it dried, and then when that dried, I used the 2mm cheapy Super Cheap Auto or whatever gun it is, and just turned the nozzle. Then I just turned the nozzle so it wasn't pouring out, and turned the fan right down so it's just slightly above a circle spray pattern, and come up pretty good. You can see here texture. There's a bit of leach through from the primer underneath the tape. Doesn't matter because I've got cover strips that go over there, which are in the shed on that rotisserie that are painted as well. So I've got caps that come along here. I've got those doors painted, those access panels. So I'm probably the first person in the world that's Raptor coated timber, but we'll see how it goes. Worst case, I can just replace them with something else, but the thing's beat up. Look at it. Look at the tray has been carrying chunks of concrete by the looks of it. So I'm not too fussed. It's just better than what it was. And it's still a bit wet, so when it dries, it'll lose that bit of a sheen, and it'll be quite nice then. A black and blue combo. Probably do black mags, black tint, black interior. One more step for the budget resto. I had some overspray because I only had that crappy little 20cm paper taped to there. So I just ran around with the paper towel and some thinners and just wiped down the panels. It's got nice cat prints on it, so, and I'm not worried about scratches because obviously I'm doing it again, as I said, probably 10 times. But for you, if you have overspray, like for me, I didn't worry because I wasn't too concerned because I'm doing it again. For you, you just get full plastic sheets to the ground. But let's say you did get overspray, just I probably would make sure it's dirt free before you use a paper towel or a microfiber cloth with thinners, because you will scratch it if you carry dirt along the sheet of paper. So you'd just maybe just wipe it down or spray it off with water if you have dirt on it, and then, you know, carefully use the thinners and the rag, get the overspray off. If your paint job's good enough and you've done a good quality job, it shouldn't rub off. So it's just milky with this, because I didn't do it twice, but I just wanted to get the chunks off so it doesn't foul up my paper when I start sanding it. Anyway, that's probably going to conclude this episode, because I've got to get into the booth and spray paint these doors before it gets too cold. And if I get it done, I'll just add another video clip at the end with the doors and it's all done. I might add is that I'm always learning. I never have said I'm perfect. And even the bodywork from the start of this job to my abilities and skills now, I feel like I've grown and developed even in that, just doing one. So sometimes you do that. You do a job and you look back, even welding, and you're like, wow, that's shit. I can do better than that now, and you just do it again. So it's always about learning. The day you don't learn something, you're dead inside.